Hey, we're live. So, we're back. Welcome to An American Werewolf in New Jersey. I am the American Werewolf. What is the deal with the upcoming Salem's Lot remake? First of all, do we even need a Salem's Lot remake? I don't think we do. I think it's completely unnecessary. I don't know why it's happening at all. I'm sort of over, well, I'm completely over all of the remakes. Every once in a while they get it right, but 90% of the time they don't. I'm not sure why you need a remake. We've done it perfectly the first time. This may actually be better than the book. It's one of those rare instances where the movie is better than the book. Tobe Hooper, 1979, Salem's Lot, David Soul, James Mason, Lance Kerwin, Bonnie Bedelia. Really, really fantastic two-part TV movie. It lasted over 2 days. But apparently, the cinema deities have decided that we don't know any better and that we need another one. Now, the problem is that Hollywood is bleeding money all over the place. So this could be another Hollywood project that is just quietly getting shelved. And I actually think that wouldn't be a bad thing because I get the feeling it wouldn't be very good. It's not going to be very good. The only thing I really know about it is that William Sadler is playing Barlow. Hold on a second. We've got some information, though, that I wanted to bring to you. And so here we go. It says Salem's Lot. This is from Slash Film. Salem's Lot, everything we know so far. And this is from a few weeks ago, May 18th, so over a month, which means that there hasn't been any information about this at all. There's been no teaser. There's been no trailer. There's been no release dates. I was just on here earlier this morning talking about the upcoming The Last Voyage of the Demeter, where we have a trailer, where we have a release date of August 11th. Here, we have absolutely nothing. So let's see what we've got. Welcome to And More. And there you see a picture of David Soul, the classic Ben Mears. Our No Frills, Zero BS guide to when and where to watch it. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Salem's Lot is revving up for its third screen adaptation. That's right. I forgot they made another TV adaptation. I saw part of it. I didn't think it was very good with Rob Lowe. I like Rob Lowe. He had the great Rutger Hauer. Rest in peace, Rutger Hauer, playing Barlow. I think Donald Sutherland was playing Straker. I still wasn't a big fan. Salem's Lot, third screen adaptation, and this time it will be getting the movie treatment rather than another TV miniseries treatment. If you're a fan of King's 1975 vampire novel or any of its adaptations, consider this the knock on the window from the pale floating boy with fangs and dark circles around his eyes. He wants to be let in, and you'll want to read further to find out everything we know about the upcoming Salem's Lot film. If this does happen, it might be one of those things that just quietly gets released to streaming service, or, maybe they're going to kick the can on it into next year sometime, but you would think if it was going to be released this year, we would have heard something about it. Salem's Lot had its release date shifted around a bit. It was originally due to hit theaters on September 9. Oh, Jesus, this has been... Okay, so last year, almost 9 months ago, this was supposed to have been released, only to be pushed back to April of this year, April 21. However, the movie also wound up vacating the April slot, which is now occupied by Evil Dead Rises, which was a smash, another horror film that went from HBO Max to a full theatrical release after positive test screenings. And Evil Dead Rise just hit HBO Max, now Max, this week. So if you have that, Evil Dead Rise is there if you want to watch it again or watch it for the first time. According to Deadline, the new release date is to be determined, TBD, but it will come sometime in 2023. I'm not so sure about that with the strikes and all of these companies bleeding money. I think they really only want to release things that are sure to be a hit, that are going to be profitable. They're not looking for any more losses. But we'll see. It's possible that I'm wrong. and it could be a big hit. I'm not sure. It's possible that Warner Brothers, it's Warner Brothers. Okay, the studio distributing both it and Evil Dead Rise may stick Salem's Lot back in that early September slot following Labor Day. It could also be a Halloween release following a weekend, since it had its previous luck with horror in that time frame, including It, another Stephen King adaptation that broke box office records in 2017. Salem's Lot is the first film adaptation of King's novel. The first film adaptation, so not TV adaptation, which reimagines Dracula as if it were happening in 20th century America. Instead of England, it's New England that the vampire visits. His name is Kurt Barlow, and he's accompanied by a human familiar named Richard Straker, whose name is a nod to Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula. Barlow invades the small town of Jerusalem's Lot, or Salem's Lot, which is also the setting of the epic series Chapelwaite, starring Adrian Brody. I never saw Chapelwaite. Maybe I'll get to that. Salem's Lot had previously been adapted into two miniseries. The first was 1979, the second on TNT in 2004. Quarter century later, they started David Soul and Rob Lowe, like I said. So I don't want to go into the synopsis. Well, hold on. Okay, so this film stars Lewis Pullman from Top Gun Maverick as Ben, Mackenzie Lee from Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. I don't know who that is Susan Norton. Oscar nominee Alfre Woodard, 12 Years a Slave, as Dr. Cody. Okay. Dr. Benjamin Hickey, sublet in treatment as Father Donald Callahan. My understanding is that Father Callahan, again, has been minimized in this role. If you're a fan of the book, then you know that Father Callahan plays a really important part, and he is a recurring character later on in the Dark Tower series, where he is bested by Barlow and is forced to drink his blood, which is a major loss in terms of fighting the vampires in this story, but appears many decades later in, I think, is it Wizards in Glass? He appears again, and it's good to see him. Billy Camp from The Joker and Dark Waters is Matthew Burke. Jordan Preston Carver, I don't know any of these people, as Mark Petrie. Nicholas Crovetti as Danny Glick. William Sadler as Constable Parkins Gillespie. Okay, I thought he was Barlow. Spencer Treat Clark as Mike Ryerson. Cade Woodard as Ralph Glick. Deborah Christopherson as Anne, and Pilu Asbeck as Richard Straker. So it doesn't say who. Did I miss who Barlow was? I don't think I did. Okay. Who's the director? Gary Doberman, director of Annabelle Comes Home. Oh, geez. Is helming Salem's Lot. Doberman co-wrote the screenplay for It. Okay. It was good. I hated what happened at the end in the final confrontation. The CGI just looked awful. It was like Scorpion King awful. And was the sole credited writer for It Chapter 2. Yeah, Chapter 2 was a completely different thing from Chapter 1. So this isn't his first King rodeo, and he'll be serving as writer again here too. James Wan is producing. New Line Cinema is co-producing and distributing as a division of Warner Brothers. Okay, so we've been who's in the Salem's Lot cast? We just went through that. There's also Mackenzie Lee. Blah blah blah. Where to watch? Yeah, and there's not much else there. So there's not much information out here about this. It's a real shame. Hold on a second. We got some comments here from Eric. He says, not even a trailer yet, not even a teaser yet, brother. Third time, third version. I wonder what else they can do this time. Should have left it alone the first time. It never dilutes the quality of the original, but yeah, I guess since it's the first non-TV version, like you said, they can do a show. They can show a lot of the violence from the novel. The Salem's Lot miniseries are both great. Castellar, Daniel Garcia, great vampire. Yeah, it is a great vampire story. It's my second favorite, I think. Maybe third favorite after Let the Right One In. And by that, I mean the book. because I think Let the Right One In is my #1 vampire movie, period. Sadler is a good addition. Yeah. I mean, if you give him something to do, Sadler was in The Mist. He was great in The Mist. And here's the thing, a lot of these King stories really haven't been going anywhere of late. And I found an interesting article about that from WeGotThisCovered.com. It says, and this is from June 5 of this year, the reality of three of the last 4 Stephen King film adaptations being critically bashed could be why Salem's Lot remake disappeared. So this is from 2 weeks ago, after this last article that I wrote. And it's saying, ever since spine-tingling stories from horror novelist Stephen King were transformed into a variety of blockbuster film adaptations back in the 80s and 90s. And we shouldn't forget that he started out with De Palma and Carrie, which is just one of his all-time great adaptations. Kubrick, he started off with it. Cronenberg, he's got Carpenter for Christine, although I don't really like Christine because I think it's difficult to adapt a car that wants to kill people. But and then it's hit and miss. He's got Darabont with The Shawshank, Darabont with he had Tobe Hooper with this Salem's Lot, Darabont again with The Mist. So it's been hit and miss. But then you've got your Children of the Corn and a lot of other crap. Modern day filmmakers have been trying to capitalize on that success with a plethora of updated remakes and fresh-faced projects. But with 3 of the last Stephen King film adaptations getting critically panned across the internet, it's worth begging the question as to whether this controversy has stopped Salem's Lot remake dead in its tracks. As many horror fans are aware, the Salem's Lot remake was initially announced back in 2020, where it director Gary Dauberman first signed on to helm the project. After additional photography, the horror retelling was scheduled to be released on September 9. We just said that. However, the movie was soon rescheduled for April 21st, much to the chagrin of fanatics everywhere. I don't know who those fanatics are. I've never been enthusiastic about this remake. I've been saying it throughout the stream and, well, since I first heard that this was going to happen. But when it was confirmed that Warner Brothers had pulled the movie from its release calendar entirely, an understandable sensation of panic began to set in. I wouldn't go that far. Flash forward to now, and it's certainly no secret that 3 of the last 4 Stephen King film adaptations have been unapologetically bashed by critics. As it stands, 2023's Children of the Corn holds 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. Firestarter holds with 10%. And I think the girl who played, who reimagined the Drew Barrymore character. I don't remember Firestarter in terms of the book or the names of the characters. I think she was nominated for a Razzie, which received a lot of pushback, but it was still kind of funny. Mr. Harrigan's Phone holds 45%, and The Boogeyman, the only positive score in the pack, boasts 62%. I haven't really been interested in seeing The Boogeyman. I'll wait for streaming on that. And with the latter being the only flick with the score that isn't completely embarrassing, fans are starting to wonder if Warner Brothers decided to keep Salem's Lot from the public eye for fear that the project will get bashed like the other 3 movies. Maybe they're just going to write it off as a tax, tax benefit or something like that. Consider no mention of Salem's Lot was made at this year's CinemaCon, despite the movie unveiling a full trailer last year. I never saw it. It's safe to assume that something is going on. In a recent thread over the horror subreddit, a handful of Redditors addressed the movie being placed on the shelf, and honestly, I can't help but agree with most of them. From argument that Warner Brothers are waiting to see how The Boogeyman performs to others straight up suggesting the movie sucks and that many reshoots had to be done, it's obvious that the movie is being hidden from the public for one reason or another. At this point, I think for most of the horror community, I think I speak for most of the horror community when I say just release it. I don't know about that. If it sucks, maybe you should just write it off and let it go. And because you're setting yourself up for even more red ink, more loss, financial loss. whether it's good, bad, or ugly, whether Kurt Barlow, the vampire, doesn't look scary enough, or if the dialogue is just ridiculously campy, just give it to us already, because truthfully, we're getting a little tired of waiting. Now, that's by Taylor Mansfield. Now, this guy sort of has a point in the sense that, I mean, horror fans tend not to be connoisseurs. Horror fans will largely consume anything. So who knows? He could be right. But right now, it doesn't look like this movie is going to drop at all. I'm not necessarily heartbroken about it. You know, we'll see what happens. You know, we're looking here at the Barlow, not the Hubie Marston house, and I guess we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. This actually puts me in the mood, though, to watch the original Salem's Lot, which I think I'm going to do tonight. Okay, that's it. That's my video. Like the video if you see it. Leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel. My thanks to everyone in the chat, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.